I'm the co-chair of the Boston Democratic Socialists of America. We have 1,800 members in Greater Boston, which I think makes us a mini mass organization here. So I think there are a couple of components to this question. So the first is that in DSA, the political conditions vary greatly from chapter to chapter. Even within the 6 chapters within Massachusetts, the conditions are quite different across the different cities. And so I think with the national electoral strategy, something that I think is really smart about DSA's strategy is that it's called All Politics Are Local. And so what that speaks to is, as leftists and in DSA as socialists, we know that material conditions and analysis of the material and political conditions are absolutely necessary to forming good strategy that builds power. And while we want to be respectful of the difference in political conditions, we also want to have a shared set of principles and leverage the huge 55,000 member network of chapters in 49 of 50 states in the country. There's a comrade in Delaware who wants to start a chapter. I'd invite you to find a couple comrades. And so what I think is important is that DSA is so much more than just an email list. We have active membership in almost every state in the country. And what's important is we're building organization, especially amongst young people, many of whom are in cities. And something that I want to point out about young voters and young people in Boston and many cities is that we're facing high rent, high student loan payments. Many of us are trapped in the entry-level jobs because of the recession. And what that means is that many of us are never going to own a home. Many of us are downwardly mobile, and many of us live paycheck to paycheck, which makes our interests materially very similar to people who have been permanently working class. And often we actually live in different parts of big metropolitan areas because of residential segregation. And so actually there is kind of some benefit to working in coalitions with left organizations. So in Boston DSA, we work with Right to the Cities 501c4 coalition. And so there is a really important local component to our electoral work. That being said, our national electoral work is really important. Ensuring that we use this endorsement of Senator Sanders for president to build the local infrastructure is really important. And we will need resources from the National Electoral Committee, such as training, especially around legal compliance, since so many people in DSA in all chapters across the country are relatively new to organizing and don't know the ins and outs of legal compliance. We also do national endorsements that come from the local chapters, which is really important since we want to build organization. And so if there's no base on the ground supporting this candidate, then the national doesn't endorse them. But also when there is a national endorsement, other chapters jump in to help. So right now, actually, I'm missing a phone bank for Rosana Rodriguez, who's a DSA member in Chicago, who's running for alderwoman. And so while there are resources to leverage, there also is a really strong notion that all politics are local. And so there is this balance between centralization and coordination, centralization and decentralization while coordinating resources in DSA, which has been, I think, a pathway to power for people involved in electoral politics and our socialists.